Time for a cash flow end-to-end walkthrough. I know a lot of you have probably seen this on my story, posted up on Instagram, and now I just want to give you a full holistic overview of what cash flow is, what it does, and how it helps high-ticket commission-based sales people, sales teams, and sales agencies. So if you're running a sales team of any kind, or you're a salesperson, have a good understanding of your numbers, over your revenue, your cash collected, how much commission you've made, and be able to filter that through every month, and then also analyze your own performance metrics so you can understand where you need to improve. But also as a sales manager, if you're looking to understand the performance metrics of your team so you can identify real specific bottlenecks, then Cashflow is exactly what you need. So I'm going to give you a walkthrough. Now we're starting with the dashboard page of the demo instance that I've got here. As you can see, we can see all of our numbers very holistically. We can see our total revenue, and you can click into that and see exactly where that's come from. Same with your overall cash collected. You can analyze the profit, so revenue and cash collected minus the commission made and the future commissions. Then you can see your commissions earned and who earned what and what those deals were representing. And you can see your future commissions, which is payments that are in the future that are going to come through that your sales reps will earn a commission on as they come in and they become cash collected. So that's a overall view of the metrics that you can see on the dashboard. But as you scroll down, you can see your leaderboard, you can see deal status overview. So as this piles up, you'll see what's been completed, meaning the entire amount has been collected by the team. What's partial, meaning there's a few more outstanding payments. What's pending, meaning the deal's closed but the payment hasn't come through yet. And what's cancelled or refunded. So naturally deals that you've had to refund, send back to the prospect, or deals that have been cancelled. Maybe payment 2 or payment 3 have been cancelled and you only collected payment 1. Now, as I continue to go down, I'll see expected client payments, which shows me all of those expected payments that are due to come in the future. So John Doe, for example, would have been a deal that closed. And as you can see, this is payment 2 of 5, which is due, it's past due now. It's on October the 1st. So once that payment comes in, I can just click record payment and that payment will naturally record. And you'll see now payment 3 of 5 is due on the 1st of the 11th. That's a sort of an understanding of what that dashboard feature looks like. Now you come into the deals page and here's where you can see all of your deals, right? So whenever you've closed a new deal, you simply go to this add deal function, you input all of the details, including who was involved in the deal. So the commission structure, for example, Jordan was involved as the closer, 15% on, let's just say, Sales Growth Club as the deal. And let's say we signed with Google for 50,000 and we cash collected 10,000. And the deal closed on the 18th. And what we can do here is we can add a monthly payment of 10,000. So we know there's going to be 5 payments of 10,000 and then add the deal. Now what this is going to do is it's going to add this deal in here, but it's also going to populate the platform so we can start to see total revenue, cash collected, and all of that stuff. You can also look up here in your notifications and you can see a new deal has been created. Now the notifications apply when a new invoice has been sent out, when a new deal has been created, when someone's been paid, when a report has been submitted. And this is going to depend on whether you're a manager or user level, but everyone will see when a new deal is created, and the individuals involved in an invoice will see when a new invoice is sent out. Managers will see when a new report is submitted, and the individuals who are involved when a specific payment has been made, so when someone's commission has been paid out, they will get notified on here as well. And there are a few other notifications in terms of bottleneck analysis, so understanding where the bottlenecks are in the business and then notifying each individual user on what those bottlenecks are. And I'll walk through how we calculate those bottlenecks in just a moment, but essentially the notifications gives you a real good understanding of what's happening in the platform, what's happening in the team. So that's just a bit of a caveat. These will disappear 24 hours after you've marked them as read. But as you can see in this table, you can see all of your deals and you can filter them or you can edit them to very specifically. You can edit the client name, the company, absolutely everything about this deal. You can add more team members just to increase the commissions. For example, let's say Joseph was a setter on this deal and he made 10%, let's save that, and that will save commission. So it will increase the total commissions. Joseph is now in there as a setter, and again that will increase, it will start to update the rest of the page. So the deals page is where you can basically see all of the deals you've submitted, and you can filter this down very specifically as well. And you can also import your current deals. Let's say you move into Cashflow and you've already got a spreadsheet full of the deals that you've closed. You can simply download download our template, and then you can input your data into that template, and you can bulk upload your deals into a CSV that will populate the platform as well. You can also export. So let's say you no longer wanted to use Cashhflow, or you needed that data for a report that you send to your clients or you send to investors. You can basically go into here, apply your necessary filters, and you can export a CSV to share to whoever you want to share that to. But it's super simple, and this page ultimately impacts the entire platform because all of the numbers are kind of stored from here. And then the commissions page is just where we can see the total commissions earned. So you can see total commissions. You can click into that and see who's earned what and how much they've earned. You can see what's been collected, so what commissions have actually been paid to our team, and then you can see the payments due. So I can see there's 10,000 in payments due. This is based on commissions earned through cash collected that hasn't been paid out to my team yet. And as you can see, the current commission based on cash collected in the bottom there versus the future commission based on revenue that's due to come in. And you can tell that the total commission payouts due versus total commissions collected is the exact same amount as the current commissions. So that's how it all works out. Then you can scroll down and you can see what commission is overdue. So you can see what's ready to pay now, what's overdue, and you can basically get an understanding of, and this is set through the settings page. So you can actually set a date or a time period or however you want that to look, which I'll walk you through in a moment as well, on exactly when you pay out commissions. So as a sales team or even as a salesperson, it's completely up to you the offer that you're working on or the way that your company is structured on how you receive commission payments. Some people pay out commissions at the end of the month. Some people pay out commissions bi-weekly. Some people pay out the commissions as soon as they come in. You can really go through the settings and you can apply exactly when you typically receive commissions or typically when you pay out commissions, and you can update the platform so it really maps out what's due and what's overdue, and you can see that visually here. And if you continue to scroll down, what you'll see is individual commission details where you can see absolutely everyone in your team. If you're using this as a solo consultant, then you will only see your name here, but you'll see everyone in your team if you're a sales team or if you're an agency who has earned a commission, and you're able to track their total potential, which is an accumulation of their current commission and their future commission. Then you can see how much they've collected, so how much we've actually paid them, how much is due in the future based on revenue, and then how much is their current commissions based on what's actually been collected. So we can see that this person still has quite a lot to collect based on their current commissions. They've only collected 10% of it. So that is a base understanding of what the commission page looks like. And then you can go down and see your deal breakdown, so who was involved in what deal. And this is actually where you select how someone gets, whether or not someone's been paid. So let's say for the new deal that I created for Sales Growth Club and Google, let's say I've been paid this. I've been paid my first payment, let's say. Now that's going to update the platform. First payment is now been paid, and we're going to see that reflected in here. So the total commission payouts due has gone down. Total commissions collected has now gone up because I have been paid, and that will also eventually update this. It should update my notifications to say that I have now been paid. But also if I was to mark this one now as first payment made as well, you can see that again updates all of the metrics, and you can see how easy it is to track everything. Now what I want to show you next is the create invoice function. Now in the commissions, what we wanted to do is make this completely end to end. So this should be the only place sales teams need to go in order to manage their sales data, their finances, and actually pay their reps out. So what you can do in the create invoice function is you can actually create an invoice that gets sent directly to your manager from within the Cashhflow app, and you can actually facilitate that payment through one click through the email that gets sent to your manager. So there's two ways we can do this. Now a lot of sales teams might use Stripe as a way to pay people out. Perhaps the business has a Stripe account, and then each individual rep has a Stripe account, and they're almost operating as an independent consultant for that company. I've seen that happen quite a few times with different high ticket sales companies. And what we've done with Cashhflow is we've made it seamless to facilitate that process. But then there's also a lot of teams that would rather do bank transfers, keep it away from Stripe, avoid the fees, and that is perfectly fine as well. This invoicing function works for both of them. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to walk you through a function that doesn't include Stripe, and then I'll take you through the Stripe flow, as it's two slightly different things but equally works great. So if I go into create an invoice, what I can do is, let's say I have an invoice ready, it's for 1,500. I just select that, and I can go through here and I can see a ton of these. these, I'll just see all of the commissions that I have either due or overdue that I can select. So I can see 1500 there. All I have to do is fill out the information. So let's say I want to put my email in there just for the purpose of this video, so I can show you what that flow actually looks like. salesgrowthclub.com. Now an email is going to be sent to whatever this recipient email is from whatever email is there, but the from email doesn't really matter. But put your email in there because it's good to just store information from your actual invoices. And then I'm going to fill out all the information. This invoice number, you can add your own invoice number in there, or if you don't, the platform will automatically create an invoice number, a unique invoice number for you. So you don't actually have to. Now for this purpose, as you can see, I have a Stripe payment link, but I've not connected that, which I'll show you in a second. Then I've got bank transfer. So for the time being, I'll go on bank transfer. Let's just say it's domestic, and then I'll put all of my information in there. Just put some random numbers in there for now. That'll do. There we go. Yeah, whatever. And then I can also add a base salary. So for the sake of this, let's say my base salary is, £500. And then we go next. And now you can see that an entire invoice has been populated. So you can see my bank details are there. You can see it's given me a base salary plus my commission subtotal. So I'm due £2,000. It's going to this person, and this will automatically generate. Now, what I can do is I can download this as a PDF, which would essentially just download it, and now I can send it out manually however I want to. The download will also automatically generate the invoice as well. For the purpose of this, I'm actually going to send this invoice via email. What this invoice will do is send directly to this email, the recipient's email. So typically that email would be for the manager who created this instance. In fact, the invoice will be for the manager that created the instance, but it can be changed, as you can see there. And then what I'm going to briefly show you is I'm going to go into my email. As you can see, I've received this invoice from Cashhflow. You can see pretty much everything in here. This is invoice. As you can see, it's populated, and it populates based on like the date and then a number. So if multiple invoices get populated on the same day, this will show as 001, 002, 003. And as the day changes, or as the month changes, the invoice number will actually change. So when it hits December, this invoice number will go 112, and then it'll go back to 001. But obviously you can create your own invoice structure however you want to. If I go down, I can click the PDF and I can actually see this invoice in there with all of my bank details that I can share. Now the Stripe flow that I want to walk you through is slightly different, and I'll go through the invoice again just to show you what this difference looks like. So before I create the invoice, I'm going to go into settings. And as you can see, before I do that, if I go down here, you can see that a new invoice has been created and a new invoice has been sent successfully to my email. So that is again, what this notification sort of does. But if I go into my settings, just to give you a brief overview of these settings, I can change the organization name. So this will be just the name of your company, or whatever you want to call your instance. You can white label it. Your financial settings. So this is when you get paid out. So here is what is your currency, the currency that you typically use within your team. We use pounds, but you can change it to whatever you want, and that's what the platform will show. Your commission payments due. So this is where you can select the days or the schedule. As you can see, I've got here every 2 weeks from a Monday, and the start date on this day, which is when we pay out commissions. So you can see invoice management as well. This is the invoice that I've just sent out. I can delete, I can whatever with that. Manage my team here, can manage my companies here, and I can manage my account here. But in this instance, I want to show you the Stripe Connect. So I'm going to try and connect my Stripe now, and it's going to take me to this page. Now all I need to do is fill up the information. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to try and log into a Stripe account that I have. So as it's loaded, you can see that there's a few businesses that I can link my account to. For this is one of my previous companies, so I'll link it to Golden Mouth Limited. I'll continue, and this is the process of just integrating your Stripe account with your Cashhflow instance. So basically we can facilitate payments a lot easier, and this is how you would actually get paid into your Stripe account through Cashhflow. Cool. So as you can see, my account has now been onboarded and I'm redirected back to the Cashhflow site. So I'm just gonna log back in the demo account. Cool. So I'm back in the dashboard, and as you can see, if I go into my settings now, I can go down into my Stripe and I can see that my Stripe account has been successfully connected. So now that that this is active, I can see my account number. I can easily disconnect from here as well. But what that means is when I go back into my commissions and I go to create an invoice, let's say I create the exact same invoice. I'm going to go into select all. I'm going to add my email as the recipient email just so I can show you guys. And then I'm going to select my payment method as Stripe payment link. I'm going to also include the base salary of 500. In fact, let's include the base salary of 1,000 this time, just so you can see how it works. You can go on here. So now I can see there's a base salary of 1,000. Commission is 1,500. I'm going to get paid out 2,500 from this. The method is through Stripe, and you can see all of the data is still there. Now I'm going to go through this process again, and I'm going to send an invoice to my email. So this invoice is going to be sent directly to jordan@salesgrowthclub.com, which is the recipient email. Again, if I go into settings and show you real quickly, I can go into invoice management and I'll see this invoice is here. Now you'll see that there's two payment links, but before I click on them, I want to show you what the actual email looks like. So I'm going to open the email now. As you can see, this is the email that I've received from Cashhflow, which is my Cashhflow invoice. As you can see, the invoice number, given that this is the second one, is now 002 as opposed to the last one, which was 001. And I got a Stripe link that I can click and pay directly into my account. So the PDF commission, the invoice, sorry, is still here. However, the way that I want to pay this, because it's through Stripe, I can just click pay now, and this is going to direct me straight to a Stripe link where I can see the invoice number populated there, commission invoice for this, and I can just pay this directly. So it's super seamless the way this all works. This is the invoice function, and this is how we would pay a rep out through Stripe once we've got that Stripe integration in place. So hopefully you've got good visibility into how that all looks and how that all works. I can move on to the rest of the platform. Cool. So now we're about to enter the reports page. The reports page is slightly separate from the main dashboard, where the main dashboard gives you your numbers and understanding of essentially what your actual sales data looks like in terms of your total revenue, your commissions, your deals, your cash flow. The reports page gives you an understanding of what your sales data looks like before the deal. So here we can see everything in terms of your team's outbound activity, the number of appointments set, the appointments that have been taken, including your show rate, the amount of prospects that have been pitched, so qualified prospects, the amount of deals we've closed, our close rates, and how we're tracking towards our targets. So this is an incredible overview of everything that you need to keep an eye on in your sales teams in order to get deals closed. And obviously we can see there that the second invoice has been populated as well. But what we need to understand as sales managers is what the numbers look like in our team. And we often get this, sales managers often feel the need to ask reps for daily reports, and daily reports very rarely get used. What I usually see is sales managers have like a Slack community or a Discord or whatever they do, and at the end of every day they'll reach out to their setters, their dialers, their closers, and ask them for a very basic report. You know, how many dials have you done? How many conversations have you had? How many meetings did you book for closers? How many appointments did you have in your calendar? How many did you take? And it's all great to know, but then what do you do with that data on the day you collect it? And what do you do with it a month later, right? There's nothing you can really, there's no way of really storing those numbers to actually use them for any positive effect. However, Cashhflow completely changes that and making attaining your daily report seem more efficient overall. Obviously, it's an easier process to collect the reports in the first place, but then it's actually more enjoying for your sales reps to do this, because then they get a holistic view of what their numbers look like and can identify where they're going wrong. So it creates a bit more of a high performing environment. So it's super simple. They'll just go into this ad report, they'll select their name, they'll select their role, they'll select their company, then they'll select the date, which will automatically populate on today's date. Then let's say I had 6 appointments in my calendar. I took 3 of them. So I took appointment 1, which was a first call, appointment 2, which was a second call, and appointment 3, which was a third call. So these are the 3 appointments that I took. First call, follow up, second follow up. Now I only pitched 2 of them, and out of the 2 that I pitched, 1 of them lost and 1 of them won. And then I closed one of them, and the one that closed was actually my second call, the one that was a second call. So now if I add this report, this is going to populate the platform. As you can see, the numbers of appointments taken has increased, the numbers of prospects pitched has increased, the number of deals closed has increased, and my close rate would have changed, and everything in between. We can see that I have targets here. Now it depends. I'll show you how you can set targets in just a moment. The targets are reflective of whoever's given the target. So the account that I just used to populate that daily report actually doesn't have a target set under their name. So it's still stuck at 1, even though we can see that there's 6 closed deals, because only one person who has a target is listed here. What you'll be able to see is a holistic view of all of our sales data, and you can go down, you can see the reports from today. You can obviously apply filters here, so I can see reports from yesterday, or it'll show as filtered reports. If I come into the entirety of November, just to give you an understanding, I will see filtered reports from down here, and then I can just easily clear this data. And then what's really good about this is if I go into performance analysis, I can get a very, very good understanding of where my bottlenecks are, what areas I need to improve, and exactly who's performing and who's not. So as you can see here, I can see my booking rate, so how many calls have booked based on how much outreach have we done. I can see the show rate, so how many appointments have we taken based on how many appointments have we had in our calendar. And then we can see the pitch rate, so how many calls have we pitched, so who's been qualified out of the calls taken. Close rates as shown in the previous page, and I can see calls to close. So when I was submitting my daily reports, I was very specific about which call it was that closed. I had 2 calls that I took, and out of those 2 calls, one of them was a first call, one of them was a second call. I closed one of them, it was the second call, and that is giving me an overview of how many calls it's taken to get a deal closed. So over time, as you close more deals and your reps do this more and more, you're going to see this number start to really shape itself. And you can see on average through my team, it takes me 2.3 calls to get a deal closed. So I know that I don't have to just focus on a first call close. I can take my time because I know it typically takes a few calls for deals to close. But we can also filter these metrics down based on the company. So for Google, it takes 2 calls to close. I can have a look at Microsoft, 2.3, okay. Test, it takes 0. Like all of this data is going to be down to the company, down to the individual. I can see it takes Cameron 2 calls to close. It takes Jordan 2 calls to close. It takes Test 3 calls to close. And that's what's given us this data. Now, as I continue to scroll, I can start to see more visual metrics like this graph. So I can see what our cash flows look like over time. So how much cash have we collected every day? I can also look at this in terms of every week. I can look at this in terms of every month, and this graph will continue to change. I can also look at our deal flow. How many deals are we closing monthly, weekly, or daily? I can also look at our commission. So how much commission are we making monthly, weekly, daily? I can look at booking rate, show rate, outcome breakdown. Okay, out of the calls we're taking, what are the typical outcomes? I'm seeing, look, there's a 1. This one is 3-1, 1 lost. This one is 1-1, 1 lost. And you can start to get a visual representation of that. I can see my average cash per deal and how that's starting to change. And I can also see my calls to close on here as well. So all of our metrics are very seamlessly managed and tracked in this performance analysis page. I'll just go back to Cashflow for the time being. And then if I continue to go down, I can see how my team are performing in terms of our actual targets. So our targets for show rate is 60%, for close rate is 40. And this is based on the targets that we give our sales reps in the settings page, which I'll show you in just a moment. But essentially, the more targets you've given to your reps, the more this target will start to average out. So if you've given one rep a target of 40 and then one rep a target of 50, the average is going to be 45%. And then you can also see closed deals targets and how we're tracking towards that. But what's great about the performance analysis page is that we can identify critical bottlenecks that are affecting our revenue, and we can see exactly how much revenue it's impacting us by. So what I can tell based on my average cash per deal and my target, I am missing out on 228, almost £229,000 in cash based on me not hitting my targets, with the average cash per deal being 11,459. Same with my booking to show rate. It's going to give me an overview on how much money I'm missing out on. Then I can see my focus areas. So what I need to focus on is my show rate, making sure that we're increasing our show rate to hit target. And I need to make sure that we're closing more deals because we're 19 below our target. And if I did do that and we managed to hit target, then this is the cash that we should be on. And this is how much money we will make as a result of it. So this really does give you a holistic overview into your sales team's performance, and it can just show you all of the areas to optimize and improve. Now, if I go into settings page to give you a view on how we set targets, what I can do is I'll go into this team management section here. Now, this is going to depend on how many people are using the platform. As you can see right now, I actually only have one real user on the platform and the rest is all just data. So let's say you're a sales manager and only want to use it internally. I wouldn't recommend only using it internally. I feel like Cashflow needs to become an organizationally used system, and everyone needs to be on it because everyone will benefit from the metrics that we're displaying, and also with things like adding their reports, reports, they need access to the platform, and also things like creating your invoices and sending invoices out, they need access to the platform for that as well. So I'd recommend having everyone as a user, which is super simple. Once you sign in, you get an organization code, and everyone just needs to log in with that organization code. It's literally one platform, unlimited users, anyone can be on there, which is really cool about Cashflow. But as you can see, I've only got one actual user in there right now. So for the purpose of showing you target, I'll show you based on the one user that we have. Now I can change this person from member to manager. Managers have a bit more control over how they use the platform. Whoever first creates their instance will be a manager automatically, but managers can change the settings and everything. All new users that come in automatically be members, but can be changed to managers. So to give you an overview, I can go into targets here and I can basically select my role. If I'm a manager, then there's probably no targets, but the good thing about being an early adopter into Cashflow is always going to continue to change and develop. So the sooner you are in using Cashflow, the more influence you're going to have on how this platform is molded. Maybe managers do have targets, and it would be important for us to know that so we can start to set that for you as well. Essentially, you can see setter, dialer, closer, and full cycle. For the purpose of this, I'll show you full cycle. Essentially, he already has closer targets in place, so I won't even, I'll just kind of add setter targets for now, but you can see full cycle goes through the outbound, the appointments, targets, all of that sort of stuff. So for the purpose of this, because they've already got closer targets in place, I'm actually just going to set a setter target, and I'm going to set it to 1,000 outbound activities per month and 50 appointments set per month. I'm going to save those targets and that will update automatically. Now, if I go back into the report section, I'll now be able to see that Test, the user, has been given an outbound activity target and an appointment set target, as well as the closer targets that he already has in place. So now if I was to add another report and I was to say test user, who is a setter for Google on this day, let's just say whatever number this is, 39 outbound activities and 3 appointments set, I'll just add that and I can see 39 free, and we can see how that's tracking towards target. So the targets shown here are for the entire month, and the targets we set is for the month. So essentially, if you're doing weekly reviews, then you would just divide each of your targets by 4 and make sure that your team are on track in that respect. So that is an entire view of Cashflow, the platform. I hope it's been insightful. There's a ton more things that perhaps I haven't gone into too much detail on. There's maybe a few more things that I can show in terms of the sign up. This gives you a very good understanding on how to use the platform. It's very simple to use, but it really does accumulate all of your data in one unified place. And it's become the software that I turn to whenever I need to understand what's going on in the team. It's how I track pretty much everything from my sales team's performance, the cash flow coming into our business, and everything in between. Cashflow has been an absolute savior for me, and I'm sure it's going to be a savior for so many other sales reps, sales teams, sales agencies, and everything in between. Just to be clear, the use case for Cashflow is built primarily for high ticket commission based sales teams. Now the use case may change over time. We are in the early stages of Cashflow, so it will grow and accommodate a lot more people, specifically more enterprise companies. But for the time being, it's for commission based high ticket sales teams or sales reps, sales agencies, anyone who is managing commissions, heavy commissions, sales data, deal flow, needs an understanding of what their numbers look like. That is entirely everything. This is also mobile friendly, so you can use this on your phone. The interface is slightly different, but it's so it can accommodate mobile use very easily. And yeah, become an early adopter into Cashflow because you will have influence on the direction of this software. And you know, if there's anything that you want to see involved in there, please do let me know, and we can, you know, gather all of that information and make the necessary changes. You know, we can apply those necessary changes to our roadmap. But I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has given you all a new understanding or a new way of how you can manage your sales team and how you can manage your numbers more effectively. If you have any more questions about Cashflow and how you can get started using it, please do let me know. But currently we're running a 30-day completely free trial. So my recommendation is to actually just start using the platform, start inputting your data, and just see if you develop the use case, because I sure have, and I could not go back to the manual spreadsheets and the time consuming admin that was required in collecting daily reports and managing all of the recurring payments and managing everyone's commissions, especially when percentages are so different and the team starts to grow. It does become a bit of a nuisance. I could never go back to that after using Cashflow. So my recommendation is just to start it, use it for 30 days. If you don't like it, then cancel it. You don't get charged a penny. If you do like it, then it's only 55 quid. quid a month to have all of your data unified in one seamless tracking platform, right? It makes so much sense. Yeah, any questions, feel free to let me know. But in the meantime, that is everything. Welcome to Cashflow. Peace.